Hi everybody, thanks for coming over. Okay, I'm a few minutes early, but hi on TikTok, hi on Facebook. I'm going to go over in depth. I took a lot of notes when Gypsy Rose and Ken made that disastrous appearance on that Nick Viall podcast, and wow. Well, I've got a lot to go over on that. I want to talk about Sarah Boone. They have some jury issues. So one juror apparently got COVID. I think another juror had to go something about a pregnancy issue of their spouse or significant other. And then some of the pretrial motions. So we're going to go over that first. And then we're going to go over Leilani Simon, because her ex-boyfriend and baby daddy testified, and he also took part in this sting operation. So that was very interesting stuff today. So oh my goodness, let's see here. Let's get some kind of a graphic up for us today. This is what she... All right, here we go. Get over there. Sarah, get over there. Sarah Small. Okay, sorry. All right, put her there. Okay, so on Wednesday, Sarah Boone's defense scored a partial victory ahead of her trial when the judge said that they can proceed with the battered spouse defense. Prosecutors had made the case that a battered spouse defense for Sarah should not be allowed. The Assistant State Attorney Will J. claimed that the history of abuse between Sarah Boone and George Torres, or Jorge Torres, whichever way you want to say that, was irrelevant because Sarah was in no imminent danger on the day that Torres died. And I quote, Jay said, "She shakes the suitcase, she hits the suitcase. He sticks his fingertips out. She hits it with a bat. So she's now the initial aggressor. There was no overt action, and that is what is required under the law to trigger her response of acting in self-defense." The judge asked the defense to clarify what overt act required Sarah Boone to act in self-defense, and the defense tried to avoid the question and stated that the discussion was forcing them to reveal their strategy. Sarah Boone's attorney ultimately stated that he believed Sarah Boone would need to take the stand in the trial to testify to that danger. The overt act, I have to tell you, his hand coming out of the suitcase, that means he's about to get out of the suitcase. Based on history and everything else, she doesn't have to wait to see what happens when he gets out of the suitcase. Excuse me, said Tony Henderson. The judge also granted the defense another victory, stating prosecutors would need to redact opinionated investigator statements about Sarah Boone's presumed guilt or innocence from any evidence ahead of the trial. Now, they had the juror issues, like I said, and so they had to go back to picking jurors after they did this motion stuff. Let's see where we are in that. Okay, let's see now. So you would think that their opening statements would be tomorrow. Let's see. It's like I'm watching two trials at one time. Plus I did this Nick Viall thing. Viall files. Okay, no jury seated yet, it says. That's what it's saying here, but in a hearing on Wednesday morning, the possibility of Boone using a self-defense argument was discussed. We know that. Okay. Once the jury is set, they will move on to opening statements. So I guess they still haven't finished with that yet. So we'll have to check up on that tomorrow. Let's go move on to Leilani Simon. Because her... Her ex-boyfriend got very emotional on the stand. He really seemed like a believable guy. Seemed like he did a lot for the kids. And he's just the baby daddy of the last child. And that is, hang on a second here. Oh my gosh, that's too small. 1 second. She was just staring at him. All right, so prosecution presented a new video evidence to the jury on Wednesday that showed investigators confronting Miss Simon here, Leilani Simon, about the inconsistencies in her story. She initially told investigators she left her house at 1 a.m. on October 5th, 2022 to pick up Oragel from a friend at a Chevron station due to her wisdom tooth being pulled out. However, surveillance video footage showed her pulling into the nearby Azalea Mobile Home Park and instead stopping by the dumpsters. Investigators believe that when she stopped there, she dumped little Quentin's body in the dumpster at the mobile home park. An investigator is heard on video asking Leilani why she wasn't honest about where she went, and she keeps insisting that she told investigators she picked up the medicine at a location next to the Chevron. "It's true you parked in the trailer park," said the investigator. She said, "I stopped for 2 seconds to get the Oragel." He said, "You stopped? You said 2 minutes." She said, "You know what I mean. I was gone for a total of 12 minutes from the house." "Right, and you stopped right in front of the dumpster." "No, no," she exclaimed. "Yes," the investigator said. She said, "I may have stopped next to it, but I didn't stop in front of it. That's the front of the neighborhood. Right there is the front of the neighborhood." "Okay," the investigator said, and then she said, "I don't know where my baby is." And let's talk about Daniel Youngkin, the father of little Sky. So he's the father of Sky. He's the former boyfriend of Leilani Simon, and he testified today. He admitted on the stand that while He did initially tell police he saw Quentin asleep in his pack-and-play that morning. He was mistaken. He didn't look. He testified that he cooperated with the FBI in the aftermath of Quentin's disappearance, allowing them to monitor his phone. He also knew that the FBI had bugged the hotel room where he and Leilani were staying in an attempt to catch Leilani in a lie. Prosecutors aimed to use Youngkin's testimony to cast doubt on Leilani Simon's accounts of the events of that day, and he's going to be cross-examined tomorrow, so that should be interesting. But they showed this sting operation in there where he was questioning her about where she went, and it was very interesting if you haven't seen it. But he's going to be cross-examined tomorrow, and we're going to get to that. Okay, and then next is this Gypsy debacle. Okay. Now, if you remember when Gypsy Rose went on the podcast with Ryan, they were all lovey-dovey. They had their hands on each other. Ryan had his hands all over her. She was wearing the controlled top pantyhose that day. You could tell Ryan really loved Gypsy. Okay, hold on, let me get a graphic up there. Okay, well, it was completely different with, okay, so here is when she went on with right. Now these two are just yes. This host and his fiance, they're just yes people. They don't ask any hard questions. They yes everything Gypsy and Ken say. They're yes people. They did it when they did it when Ryan and Gypsy were on. They did it again today. And this guy right here says you won't even want to see his reaction when he found out his fiance was pregnant. These are also the two that told them that what she does about throwing Ryan off a cliff and checking to make sure he's okay, and that's okay. That's fine. She does that too, or something like that. Stupid, she said. Go back to my video from last time. It was just crazy. They were even crazier today, okay? This guy over here didn't even realize that both of their parents are alive. His fiance had to tell him that because he was saying, well, there's lots of people like that don't have grandparents. Our child's only going to have one grandparent. And then the wife's like, what are you talking about? You mean great-grandparents, Nick. Both of our parents are alive. It's scary. Not the sharpest tools in the shed. Okay. But they had them on. Now let me get my notebook where I took all my notes. Is over here. Okay. Hold on. Kevin took notes too. All right. I'm going to start from... I've got a lot of notes here. Ow. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Gypsy talks a lot about that she didn't make her own choices. You know, I said, WTF, your own choices? Your own choices are why you are where you are. Your own choices. Your own choices are the reason your mother's where she is. Your own choices are why Nick is where he is. Are you freaking kidding me, Gypsy? You need somebody to sit you down and ask you real questions, not coddle you like a little baby, okay? You can't handle it. How the hell can this woman sit there and freaking lie like this and is given a platform to do it? Wow. It's just wow. Okay, let me get to her picture. The body language between Ken and Gypsy was horrifying. Okay? This is after the airport. Ken, let me say, how to say he's really not that into you without saying he's really not that into you. Like this. Ken says lifetime after lockup is his job. Says he gave up his state, his house, his job to move to Louisiana. Body language compared to when Gypsy and Ryan were on is night and day. Ryan loved Gypsy. This was cringe. Beyond cringe. Okay, hold on. Let me get my notes up here. This was unbelievably cringeworthy. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming over. Okay. So, she says, I've never had a chance to make my own choices. Okay? No, you did. You did. Your own choices, Gypsy, are why you are where you are. She talks about the pregnancy. And she says she took 2 tests. And then she had to run out and get Christy and say, do you see this? Okay. Ken was called about it. She called him on the phone. And Ken, he had to go off and process this. And that's when that Nick Viall was saying, well, his reaction, his fiance wanted to, I guess, record it or something, but it was so off the charts, not in a good way, that they won't even put it up. Okay, great thing to say for your kid to go back and hear that. The internet's forever. Wonderful. Okay, might as well put it up now. You told everybody about it. Okay. So Ken said he wanted to clear some things up, okay, about why he left Gypsy. Because when Gypsy was in life after lockup, she said some stuff. He basically called Gypsy a liar, which we all know, right? He basically said that Gypsy lied about the reason he left her. And it wasn't because, she had the limelight and stuff was too much for him. It's that he thought she had to get her life. She had to go on and get her life, take care of things on her own, learn this stuff. Well, if he really believed that, why is he with her now? Because she's moving from one guy right to another. Where is she getting her life together on her own? Where is she working through anything on her own, Ken? You're a freaking liar, Ken. You're a liar. He says he told Christy this, and Christy told her this. And, great. That if that's the case, Ken, you would have stayed away. You wouldn't have went and met her the first weekend she leaves her husband. And this is so stupid that he even expects anybody to believe this BS. Okay, so, but in doing this, he's calling his wife out as a liar, okay? He says he's dealing with the pregnancy, dealing with it. and they were talking about how they're dealing with it. And she said she had excitement, but it was more about technical issues because she lives about an hour from Ken. And how is this going to work? How many days can we spend together? And they have to get travel permissions. And her residence is established with her parents. And then she said, even though this is not a new relationship with her and Ken, they have a history and a foundation. Yeah, did anybody say it was a good one, Gypsy? She talks about a magical weekend, and that's where she got pregnant. Everything with Gypsy is magical, fairy tales, not reality, pretend. It's crazy. Then she said, well, you had a magical weekend, but we have to talk about the real things, like how does Ken react to conflict and our parenting goals? And 1 month into our relationship, I was already pregnant. And I never want him to feel like he's stuck. And she said, I told him, if you don't want this child, I will be a mother to this child. And then to the critics, she said that say that this is something she's not ready for, with her trauma past, and how is that not going to affect her ability to parent? She wants people to know she has strong women around her. And when she says this, she mentions Christy, and she mentions Ken's mother. And Nick Viall's fiance says, oh, and Mia too, right? Gypsy left her right out of that. I don't know what you're talking about. Did I already talk about Liam Payne? Eva Pohl? Wait a second. What is she talking about, Debbie Two Scooter? Who are you talking about? Wait, Debbie Two Scooter, what are you talking about? Debbie Two Scooter. All right, well, we'll get to that in a minute, whatever that is. I don't know what you're talking about there. So she didn't mention Mia. Okay? She did not mention Mia. And that's, I think, because there's a big rivalry there, right? Okay. Then for Ken, it was time to buckle down. He left Dallas. He left his house. He had left his full-time job. And it was time to move. So he gave up everything. Okay? Essentially, he gave up everything. In the blink of an eyelash, he threw away his full-time job. He threw away his house, he says. I don't know that he owned a house. He threw away his state, his friends, family, everything. Because Gypsy got pregnant. And so, is that the One Direction or Boys? We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. So, together they're going to get through this process. So this is a process that he gave everything up. And then she says, we've been happy ever since. Really? Gypsy says she doesn't have to give any input. And it's great being close to her 2 days a week. It's not too bad. Okay? Ken says it's not too bad being close to her 2 days a week. I don't think Ken wants it 24/7. I'm just saying, okay? January, they're going to try co-parenting with restrictions. And that's when Nick Viall's fiance says, are you going to breastfeed? And Gypsy says, oh, yes, yes. And then she says, well, then you're really not going to need Ken around, which is bull crap. Okay? And she says, he's really not needed. You don't have to worry about that because Gypsy will have this. You're really not needed. Okay. Let's see. So they asked him what his job is. He said bartending and the show. Wow. So Ken is banking on Lifetime. I told you he wanted that Lifetime money. Sure he does. He wants to tell people he doesn't. That's why he's here, Gyp Gyp. He's here for the Lifetime money. He saw Ryan getting it. That should be his. And that's why he came over here, for that Lifetime money. He says this is a difficult process. And he says something about 18 months. And then Nick Viall says, and his girlfriend said, yes, people go against you. They mention things, you know. And I said, who's the next guest going to be with Gypsy? Nick, who is it going to be? Is it going to be Ryan or is it going to be somebody else? Gypsy said they go to couples therapy. They have a parenting therapist. And then she goes to individual. So, Gypsy, why did you deny therapy in prison? She said she's enjoying it. And Ken is like, yeah. Ken says withholding things are very normal. And you may realize you're not doing it and what you're doing wrong. So they talk about Ryan on social media, and Gypsy says, honestly, and I can't stand when anybody says honestly, because that just shows you lie all the time. Why do you have to say honestly? That infers that when you speak other times, you're not honest. I can't stand honestly or to be honest. Well, to be honest, well, what are you in normal times? You're not? It's so stupid. Please stop saying that if you're saying that. I'm telling you, because you sound like a freaking idiot. Okay? And nobody will trust you. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. It's a pet peeve of mine. I can't take it. I can't take honestly or to be honest. You sound like a moron. I'm going to tell you. Okay? Don't come for me. You sound like a moron. Just saying it. Gypsy, you sound like a liar. Don't say those things. What? Just think about it. Seriously. To be honest, I went to the store. Honestly, I don't know what to do. Well, does that mean that you usually speak lies? Oh, I don't want to be rude. Again, yes, snow remover. They know. Or no offense. No offense. But those pants look hideous on you. No offense, though. Okay? And I can say that right now. I don't want to be rude, but stop using to be honest and honestly. Please, stop it. Did you see when she was like, yeah, the weight gain? Yes, I'm going to get to that. She disses him like crazy. That's what I'm saying. He's saying, I'm really not into you, Gypsy, but I don't think Gypsy is really that into Ken anymore either. Okay? But I think she is scared that she's going to look like a 2-time loser, and she doesn't have anybody else lined up, and she's codependent. Okay. Oh, yeah, she's got a season 2. They're already filming it, she said. Okay, so then, honestly, again, she says, honestly, I just wanted to have a civil conversation about everything with Ryan. But I'm at a higher feeling level. I'm at an elevated feeling level. And he's just not there yet. Okay? She hopes he finds his happiness. And she just can't have any more communication with him. She doesn't wish him any ill will. And she just can't have any communication with him because she's working on this relationship with Ken. Well then, freak, why didn't you respect Ryan enough to not have any communication with Ken, you liar? She's such a liar. She needs somebody that will call her out. But of course she went on this podcast with these two yes men and women. Oh my gosh. Sorry, this is just infuriating. So what are you enjoying the most being out of prison? She says food. And then she said, Ken had me try octopus. I didn't like it. Ken's answer, she doesn't like anything. Okay? Ken is so up to here with her, and since you can't see me, I am motioning like almost at the top of my head. Ken is biding his time because he wants that paycheck baby. He wants that lifetime money, honey. He is biding his time. He is ready to blow. He was getting so red in this interview. Did you see his face turning beet red throughout this thing? When he either had to hold something in, when he was lying, when he knew Gypsy was lying, when he just wanted to crawl out of his freaking skin and get away from her. How come he doesn't mention his girlfriend of 5 years? Why? Because it's probably not true. That's why. Sorry. She doesn't like anything, he says. Their body language, and then their body language is atrocious. She says she still likes to watch 90 Day Fiancé. And then she says, well, Ken makes me watch movies that I've never seen or this and that. And she mentions one of them and he goes, we both never saw that. And so he like disses her. He like just, you could tell he's, when somebody's just exasperated, like so over the person, like what a moron, like just totally, oh my gosh, embarrassed. That's how Ken reacts to Gypsy now, okay? Like, oh my gosh, she doesn't even know it. That movie, I didn't see that movie. We both didn't see that movie. What is wrong with her? This is like Ken's reaction, okay? He negates her completely. He says she's never seen Home Alone. He said she never saw Fright Night. That's one of the things they saw. And then she talks about her birthday. No one's ever done anything for her birthday. And so they had a luncheon with her family. And then Ken took her to the Ritz-Carlton. And he goes, yeah, and would you order? He was exasperated with her. He takes her to the Ritz-Carlton and she orders French fries and a Caesar salad. He was disgusted with her. Okay? Like, why even bother taking you to the Ritz-Carlton? And then she said, he made me a cake. He burnt the first one, but there was just so much love in it. Now, when they talk about Gypsy and cooking, Gypsy mentions that one recipe that was not even a recipe. It was frozen meatballs and jar sauce and a box of pasta. Okay? And Little Smokies. Remember that disgusting mix? And so she brings that up when she talks about it. How do I cook? Tell them how my spaghetti was. And then he's like, oh, it's really good. Yeah, okay. They say that you learned about your real age when you were arrested, she says. You're a liar, Gypsy. You knew your real age. You said it in the interrogation. They didn't tell you. You knew it. You are such a liar, girl. Okay, then they talk about her plastic surgery, and they said, wouldn't that be very traumatic if you were so abused medically? Wouldn't going to get some plastic surgery be very traumatic for you? Oh, no, because this is my choice. No, it's not traumatic for you, Gypsy, because you didn't have all the surgeries you said. Right? Right. Okay. Then, she claims about the teasing. They're still teasing you, honey. You can do whatever you want to yourself. You think they're going to stop? They're not. That's the way the internet is. If you went and had plastic surgery to please the internet, wow. Okay. Ken says it really didn't change anything. You know, the new look, the blonde hair, whatever it is, the new plastic surgery didn't do anything. It was still, you know, he was with her before, didn't make any difference on that. And then she goes and pokes fun at his nose. Make this make sense. She says that she's so traumatized, she was teased her whole life. And then she was teased on the internet. So what does she do? She gets plastic surgery, but then she turns around and makes fun of Ken's nose. Does that make sense to anybody? And then she points out that you can have the surgery, it'll change the look, but of course it doesn't change the genetics, so our kid could be rocking a big nose. So she's already going to start making fun of the kid. Crazy. So then they talk about the Kardashians, and she basically really doesn't know too much about the Kardashians. They asked her if she watched their show. She says, I never watched their show, only the episode I was in, because she's a narcissist. Yeah. She said, I know Kim's into prison reform, and I know she has sisters, and she makes these skims. And, well, have you kept in touch with her? She said, well, I kept in touch with her producer, and then I DM'd her, you know, very minimally, but I always have a line open. They asked her if any other celebrities have been reaching out, talking to her, you know. She says, no other celebrities have. Oh boy, I wonder why. And they talk about her deleting her Instagram that I think had like 10 million subscribers at the time, and she said that she was just a person. She's not a celebrity. She was becoming overwhelmed, and she was ready to delete her TikTok, but she just deactivated it. But she actually deleted her Instagram, and now she's back, and she has like, I think she said 700,000 followers, but that she deleted, I think like 8 million, an account with 8 or 10 million. And she said, well, she didn't really understand and didn't know the concept. Let's see what else she said here. She had a call with her dad when she found out she was pregnant. The last episodes of Life After Lockup, her dad told them to wait to have a baby. So he was away on that oil rig. And she said she told him, And he nodded, and then he said, well, congratulations, I'm happy for you. And then Ken, you saw it, he said that he was sincere in telling the father that he wanted to wait, but life happens, and it's fast for sure, but it's still exciting, And she said what excites her the most is that she'll be able to share things with her daughter that she didn't get. Like what? What didn't you get, Gypsy? You got these, are you going to do these exclusive trips to Disney? Harry Potter's World, Universal? You're going to take her on whale watching trips? Private jets? What didn't you get, Gypsy? You're a liar. You come on here and you lie. Like, people don't know the truth. But then she says, like, when she doesn't give one example, she goes, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, doing things with my daughter that I didn't get to do. And then she talks about fruit and the size of a baby. Doesn't even make any sense. She just makes no sense. And then she said again, things that I wish I could have. What? Ask her what? I put that down here. But ask her what, Nick? Ask her. Ask her the real freaking question. Stop coddling this woman. Okay. Then they talk about how she's going to address her past. Oh gosh, when he gets, he drones on and on, this guy Nick, when he has that caller on the line, he literally goes over and over and over and over the advice. I felt like ripping my skin off. Okay. Thoughts on addressing her past, and she said when the daughter is the right age to understand, she's going to sit down with Ken, and she's going to sit down with her parents and others, and she's going to explain that how her life was at the time and how she got there, and she's going to use all the right words that she needs to use to say that I am not this monster. She is not this monster. And what they say on the internet, it's not that. She's taken steps to get the right info, and she said if you want to learn about someone, and she's talking now about like the Hulu, the Act, and which documentaries to watch, she said look at someone's life in the truest form, look at the documents and the books, talk to them, documentaries, and she says her book, her documentary, look into that, and she'll let them read her memoir and see the documentary if she wants to. And it's funny, Ken says he met her because he watched Mommy Dead and Dearest, and he thought to write to her because he wanted her to know that someone cared. Let's see. Does you ever think about the relationship with your mom and how she would have been with this baby? Sure I do. Sure I do. And it makes me sad, in the back of her mind. But it's okay, because Christy's going to be the grandma. She didn't even mention Ken's mother at that time. Okay. That's when Nick just says the thing that would imply that both of their parents are dead, until his girlfriend is like, our parents aren't dead. They're not dead. Okay? That's crazy. Oh, then she says, she's talking about, always about her being from trauma, having these traumas. And she says, parents that are dealing with the effects of trauma, it's so unfair, and she's healing herself. She's healing herself. She's making educated choices. And the girlfriend says, oh, I just love to give my baby so much love, you know? And then Gypsy says, you acknowledge the trauma. You're all good. You're doing the work. And they're like, just don't listen to it. It's just the internet. Let's see, name a couple. Oh, they asked her about names. Okay, it's so funny. They ask her about names. And then they say, oh, do you have any names? And they said, we have a couple. And they're like, oh, don't share them on the internet. So you just asked her to share them on the internet. And then they say, well, we really had a name we both liked. And that it's Aurora, but it's Christy's dog's name. And then the girlfriend of the podcaster, Nick Viall, says, oh my gosh, our daughter's named River. And what really sold me on that is I saw a commercial somewhere in Georgia, and someone said, oh, this is my dog River, and I thought, oh, I love it, I'm going to name my baby that. Wow. Okay. So then Nick Viall says, yeah, you don't want your kid to have a name that you've got to keep repeating because nobody knows how to say it, how to spell it. Okay, yeah, okay, Nick, all right. Okay. And Gypsy's like, but my name is unique. And they're like, yeah, but everybody knows how to spell Gypsy and everything. It's not that unique. And he's like, it's okay, even if you want to name your baby after Christy's dog. Okay, that's good. And then, not when it came. What is this? What did I write here? Not when it came. Oh, she said, you don't know where it came from. I guess meaning not the the Disney movie. She said, it came from the Northern Lights. Did you know the Northern Lights is sometimes called the Aurora Borealis? Did you know that? That's profound, Gypsy. No, I never knew that. Really? Tell me more. It's called the Aurora Borealis? Wow. You learn something new every day. Is that where I thought just Aurora Borealis was like crystals on necklaces? Really? It's also for the Northern Lights? Wow, Gypsy, that's profound. And they both put that in their letters, that's what they wanted to name the baby. And will it have Rose as a middle name? She said she didn't know. And then Ken started asking the podcaster questions. Ken just started asking the podcaster questions. Okay, then they started talking about, the podcaster started talking about losing sleep when you have a baby, and, but it gives your life a purpose, and that you should never stay together or get married because of a baby. Let's see. Enjoy life, be in the moment. And then Ken asked him about when he held his baby for the first time. And that's when Nick said something about going by the baby and the baby recognizing its voice. And then he's like, oh, you made me think about that because I talk in this really weird voice to the baby. So I guess I should change that. Let's see. They talk about craving. She says the same thing she always does. Orange juice, applesauce, cake icing, potato chips. Intimacy while pregnant. And Gypsy's like, well, yeah, I just have exhaustion. And then she says it hasn't changed. Yeah, it hasn't changed. I'm sure it hasn't, right? Ken says the fire's burning bright. I guess that's like the fire D. No change, they said. They ask him about the birth. Are you going to be there? Are you going to be catching the baby? He says, no, I'm going to be behind the knee curtain. What curtain, Ken? You already know she's having a cesarean? Because what curtain are you going to be behind? If you're giving birth in a birthing room, you're not going to have a curtain, buddy. You don't know too much, do you? But he assumes, like, somebody better check on him because he thinks that he's going to be behind a knee curtain or something. I don't know what he's talking about. Okay. Ken says he's staying behind the curtain. They've been watching the movie Knocked Up. Ken's trying to cook healthy. Let's see. They just came from San Francisco, Ken says. And Ken's focused on short-term things like getting her to try Taco Bell. He got one of everything. Her favorites was the quesadilla and the crunch wrap. For Halloween, they're going to dress up as Forrest Gump and Jenny, and they're going to hand out Halloween candy to the kids. He said for Thanksgiving, they're going to his dad's in Florida. And then for Christmas, she says her parents used to do something, and her aunts and everything, but she doesn't know what they're going to do, and they might even be hosting it. And I'm thinking, where are they going to be hosting it? In Kent's tiny apartment? No, maybe those rumors are true. Maybe they did buy a house right there down the bayou. They could have, right? If they're going to host this Christmas thing, it sounds like that's already written in the cards for the lifetime. Okay. She said she cooks a little. She learns via cookbooks. Then she mentions the spaghetti, and then she says taco soup. And she watches YouTube. Hobbies. Her hobbies are sleeping. But she said she wants to be an influencer for fashion. And she is not a fashion... She didn't know anything about being fashionable, and she learned, and she's so far behind. In makeup, she had to learn what was right for her. And then they talk about her makeup artist, because Joey King, because not Joey King, I'm sorry, Alexis, because I think this girlfriend uses her too, or something like that. And then they asked her about the woman that played her in Hulu's The Act, and she said she reached out to Joey, and she tried to reach out and tell her that she did a good job playing her, and it was very brave taking her on, and the woman played her, but she only watched a little bit of it. It's just too triggering. Ken said he did not watch The Act. It's too traumatizing. What about the interviews, Ken? Probably too traumatizing, right? Ken says he doesn't want to see anything that's dramatized like that. He doesn't want to see it. Let's see. She talks about checking on your partner. Are you okay? Are you okay? Because Ken keeps things inside, and Ken probably doesn't look like he's okay most of the time. And her dad told her how important communication is, and that they withhold stuff, and that is more stress, keeping stuff in. So it's good to say, Gypsy says, are you okay? Ken internalizes things, and let's see what she says. I said they have terrible body language. she is getting, let's see, oh, recognized. They said, do you get recognized? She said, you know I am recognized, but, you know, Ken not so much. Let's see. Yesterday, when she spoke at San Francisco State, they were chanting for her. She got a standing ovation. It was so wonderful. She got to share her thoughts about prison reform and advocacy. So she's going to immerse herself into stuff. She's got more options. And they have a call-in. And I have to think that this call-in had to be planned. It was about a woman who said she really wasn't attracted physically to the baby daddy she's with. And the baby's 2 months. And it looks like that was kind of a shotgun wedding, if you will. And so I think they got somebody to kind of speak to Gypsy. And they kept saying, well, is this right? Is this right? And the girl was like, you know, I don't believe in fairy tales. I know fairy tales aren't like that. But you could tell Gypsy and Ken at this point, they're looking really weird when this whole question is out there. Ken's so red in the face. It looks like it's going to be a cartoon. The top of his head's going to lift off, you know. He says, try to be happy. You're not attracted. When they were talking about this woman that's not attracted to her significant other, I think Ken was totally releasing. I've been thinking about all of those things. Okay, let's see. Oh, Gypsy says, if it's not there now, it never will be, says the expert that was married 3 months to Ryan. Yeah, you know that, Gypsy? That's really bad advice to be giving out, okay? You sound like not too good there. Try to be happy, but you're not attracted to that person. And she's like, can't just do it. Get your priorities. Prioritize yourself. Gypsy told her it's okay to prioritize yourself because she's selfish. She's selfish. She's spoiled. It's so uncomfortable watching Ken and Gypsy. It's uncomfortable like crazy. Ken's red as a beet, I wrote here. Gypsy thinking about Ryan and want to run. Let's see here. Body language. They're leaning opposite ways. Gypsy's points. She's selfish. Biatch, I have here. Fairy tales do not exist. Or you don't enter a relationship, you know, because you're having a baby. That shouldn't be your only reason. If it wasn't there to begin with, it's not going to be there, she says. Gypsy and Ken are sitting there thinking. Ken's getting red as a beet, I wrote. Her biggest thing, you're in control of life. Follow your heart, she says, and you have every right to do what you want. Oh, really? You're just trying to give yourself permission for what you did, right? Ken, so you're comfy. It was a crazy interview. And let's see. They asked if she enjoys giving advice, and she said absolutely. Her experience in relationships didn't last. And your experience, really, Gypsy? What are you going to tell them? She's been hearing fairy tale with fairy tale passion. Really, Gypsy? So, yeah, that was just mind-blowing. But he seemed uncomfortable. Kevin said, yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. I'm going to pull up the live chat, not the live chat, the Zoom. I'm going to pull up the Zoom. I have to apologize. I'm going to do a word cookies, and then I have to go to bed because I have to be out of my house at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Jimmy and I are going on a trip. So I'm going to do the word cookies, and then I'm going to go to bed. All right. Going on a trip. So, okay, there we go. All right, let me get the word cookies. And then I'm going to go to bed. I've been up since 7 this morning.
Oh boy.
All right. So I've got to get out at 7 tomorrow morning. Oh boy, what?
That's early.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. Why is that?
Oh, sorry, that's me.
Oh, that's you. I was
Yeah.
wondering why I can't do anything. Okay. All right, so we're going to do this, and then we're going to go. But if you haven't seen that, that is crazy, wacky.
I didn't see that.
And every single one of the comments, I think every single one of the comments was negative on there. It's
Wow.
horrendous. It was horrendous. Kevin was typing in the chat, and I was writing in this notebook. It was horrendous. Okay. Play the daily puzzle.
Okay.
Liar, that's what Gypsy is. Okay.
Where did my word cookies go? It just closed out. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Oh, look at how fast you're going.
Yeah. I'm in the wrong. There we go. Library.
I don't think library, you need 2 hours for library.
Yeah, why is he saying that you can't spell today? I know that, Kevin. Thank you. What the heck? That's 2 nights in a row, Kevin. Hi, Psychic. How are you? Thank you. Welcome to the channel. Psychic Dashton, how are you doing? Oh, you wanted me to check that One Direction thing. I'll check that.
Oh, yeah, he was 31. He fell off a third-story balcony of a hotel in Buenos Aires.
Foul play, is it?
I don't know. He was a former band member. He still wasn't with them, is what I read. I think I got that was Twitter.
Hi, Gail. Hi, Emmy. I've already tried Libra, Emmy. It doesn't work.
The 5-letter word, I know what it is. And
Alibi. Okay. Eerily. It's very eerily.
yeah.
Doesn't work for me.
Airily? I got it in mine. An alibi.
Maybe airily with an extra I.
Airily,
Oh, I didn't hear you
AIRILY.
had an extra I there. Okay. And then make this one. Airily.
Well, ILY. What's the big word, Kevin?
Well, think harder, Kevin.
Oh, Kevin. You were on a roll with the Gypsy stuff tonight, Kevin.
Oh my gosh, Kevin, forget it. I'm going to look up that other thing while you're thinking about that. What was that guy's name? Liam
Oh, there, look.
Payne?
Biliary.
One Direction singer Liam Payne dead after falling from Buenos Aires
Yeah.
hotel.
Third story, it said in the Twitter thing. I
Okay.
read.
31
Or
years
whatever.
old, he's only?
Yeah, 31.
Thought he was older than that. Well, he fell from the third floor hotel room balcony.
Yeah.
Hotel workers sought help for an intoxicated guest. Death leads to an outpouring of grief. When they arrived, the hotel manager reported he heard a loud noise coming from the inner courtyard, and the police found a man fallen from the balcony.
I think Kevin put it in there a few times.
He had a base fracture in his skull. Let's see, Sky News. Star's social media posts in the hours before his death. Let's see what they were. We literally sleep in every day until like 12. As has widely been noted by fans, One Direction star was posting on Snapchat just hours before his death. Many pointed to the fact that 31-year-old's behavior seemed entirely normal, in contrast with the statement from police that they say he had gone to the hotel after being notified of an aggressive man who could be under the effects of drugs and alcohol. However, the videos appear to have been posted after they were filmed, as they feature Payne's girlfriend, Kate Cassidy, who uploaded videos of her return to Florida on social media in the week. In them, he spoke to his followers about his plans for the next day ahead, saying it was a lovely day in Argentina. Today we ride. We're going to ride some horses, he said in one of his videos. Then I'm going to play polo again, which is going to put me out of action for about 6 weeks. It's so hard to do. Number one, my back and my neck from swinging that hammer. It hurts a lot. It's very tough to do. He also gave his followers a tour of the room he was staying in with Cassidy, who he's been dating since October of 2022. Ha ha, loser, weirdo, he joked with her about the fact she was leaving Argentina. Obviously, we're going to go home and see our dog, he said. Payne and Cassidy said they were having lie-ins every morning, and the singer told his followers they were enjoying coffee and breakfast, even though it's like 1 p.m. We literally sleep in every day till about 12, Cassidy said in the background. We're such losers, she said. Okay, so did Kevin get the word?
Yeah.
Did you get the word, Kevin?
You put it in a whole bunch of times.
Biliary.
Biliary, I think. It's something to do with bile. Where did he put it up here? Biliary, like my diseases. Oh,
I got it.
That was Painted Black put that in.
Okay. New holiday movie. What are you talking about?
Ken and Gypsy go to the North Pole to meet Kris Kringle. Kevin.
You're done, Kevin. All right. Okay, everybody. I'm going to say goodnight to you. See you later. Did I have this? Everybody take care. Love you. God bless. Prayers. We'll see you tomorrow. See you later. Bye-bye. Be good. Go watch my drink video. See you later. Adios.